Hello, my name is Wesley Kennard, and today we will be going over how to create a 1/4-inch TRS to female XLR cable. We'll go over stripping, tinning, soldering, and assembly. Let's go over our required materials. First, we have a Switchcraft TRS connection with an outer jacket and inner plastic shielding. Here we have a Neutrik female XLR connector, one length of microphone cable, preferably get a cable with braided shielding, assorted hand tools to strip, cut, and manipulate each wire, a soldering iron, and some solder. Here I'm using 60/40. Let's begin with step 1. Here, I am using my wire strippers to gently cut and score the outside of the cable. Make sure to cut into only the rubber and be sure not to damage the shielding on the inside. Once it's free, gently push upward, again, being careful not to damage that copper braiding on the inside. Next, I will gently pull apart that braided shield and twist it together into what will become our drain wire. Strip 1/8 of an inch off of our positive and negative connections and twist those together as well. This end of the cable is now successfully prepped. Repeat these exact same steps on the other end of the cable. Now that both ends of our cable are successfully prepped, we're ready to move on to step 2. Tinning and soldering our TRS connection. We will be making our connections according to this diagram. In the diagram you see here, the tip will be our positive connection, the ring our negative connection, and the sleeve is where we will solder our drain wire. Let's get started. First, we will heat up our soldering iron and push it to the side. If we mock up how the TRS connection will fit together, you might notice that the drain wire is a bit too long and needs to be shortened. To do this, I will sort of twist it back in on itself like you see me doing here. As you can see, everything inside will fit much better. Now we are ready to begin the process of tinning or pre-tinning. This involves applying a thin bead of solder to the exposed wires as well as to the connection points to make soldering easier down the line. As you can see here, our TRS connector is successfully tinned. Be sure to slip the outer jacket of the TRS connector as well as that plastic sleeve over the wire before we begin soldering. Like so. Now we are ready to solder. First, I will connect the drain wire as this will be our easiest connection. As you can see here, the process of pre-tinning is coming in very handy. You can see here the process of pre-tinning coming in handy, where all you have to do is heat up the existing solder to make an initial stick. You may come back in with additional solder later if necessary. After soldering, this is our completed TRS connection and we are ready to assemble the cable. Start by simply slipping the plastic sleeve over the wires and sliding the outer metal jacket over that and twisting it together like so. This side of the cable is complete. We are ready to move on to step 3. Tinning and soldering our XLR connection. We will be making our connections according to this diagram, with our positive connection on 2, our negative connection on 3, and our ground or shielding on pin 1. With our other end of the cable stripped, let's crack in to our Neutrik female XLR connector. As you can see, conveniently stamped into the plastic are numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the front and back of the connector. This will help us when we begin soldering later. Here we will connect our positive to 2, our ground or shielding to 1, and our negative connector to pin 3, which is on the bottom. Let's begin pre-tinning the cups of our female XLR connector. It's important to keep this piece parallel so that solder doesn't run back into the inside of the connector. Here is our pre-tinned XLR connector. We are now ready to begin soldering. Like before, we will slip the rubber outer sleeve over the wires as well as the cable clamp before we begin soldering. Let's start by making our positive connection first. I'll then move on to pin 1, and finally pin 3. Here is our completed XLR connector, and we are ready to assemble. Insert the end into the metal sleeve, followed by the cable clamp. The outer rubber sleeve will twist in via threads onto the metal jacket. And our cable is now complete. Thank you for watching.